Folks, I have a challenge for you. All month long, it's been kind of slow when it comes to new subscribers here on the channel. The most subscribers we've gained on a single video is 44. Come on. Can we get 50 subs off today's video? If you want daily Seattle Seahawks news and rumors, you want to be a part of our live shows that are here twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays, in addition to our breaking news, our Q&A mailbags, we are talking draft, trades, free agency, and more. You got to be subscribed to the channel. Look, the bosses, they don't think we can get 50 subs off today's video. They threatened to shut the channel down if we didn't. I said, no way. 12s are going to deliver. Subscribe now, F the bosses, youtube.com/Seahawks TV to subscribe now. You'll be glad you did, and we'll get started with today's show. Welcome in to this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader here with you. Thanks for joining us as we react to a pretty eventful weekend in Seattle. In case you missed it, Ernest Jones IV, who is set to hit free agency here the next couple of weeks, he took to X, formerly known as Twitter, and was calling out the haters and the losers after he was given the label as a locker room cancer, which I thought was ridiculous to begin with. But nonetheless, Ernest Jones had a lot on his mind to say. This is what he took to X and said the following. I've never been one to voice my frustrations publicly, but there's something that's been weighing on me for far too long. I've always prided myself on being a good teammate, and not a single person who's ever shared a locker room with me can say I've disrespected them, coaches included. I wear the name Jones with honor. As a fellow Jones, I like hearing that, because I was raised by an incredible woman who taught me that respect and being a good person are the foundations of life. If you think I'm not good enough, that's your right. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but that's what makes this country great. But when people label me as a locker room cancer, it strikes me at the very core of who I am, my character, my upbringing, and the values I stand by. God bless. The idea that he's a locker room cancer is ridiculous. And the people that it came from sounds like it's coming from these keyboard warriors on the internet. I have yet to hear this from a legitimate source of a player or a coach, whatever it may be. It sounds like he's catching some strays, as the kids would say. And honestly, I'm glad that Ernest Jones is standing up for himself and saying something about it. He has every right to stand up for himself and say something. And here's where the good news is on this, folks. You have people that are connected to Seattle, current and former players, that are rallying around Ernest Jones and backing up his character, and guys that have not really even known him for that long, for that matter. Tyler Lockett was on the offensive side of the ball, might I add you. He might not be a member of the Seahawks here in the next couple of weeks. He said this: Ernest has been a great teammate. Definitely someone that I would want on my team. He does things the right way. He's a hard worker, and he makes game-changing plays. He's definitely a player that is needed in a locker room. Thank you, Tyler Lockett. And it doesn't stop there. Quandre Diggs, who's not suited up in a Hawks uniform in over a year, did not play with Ernest Jones in Seattle. Said, real ones know, E. Continue being you always, dog. Now, why this matters. Lockett and Diggs, two guys that we love and respect around here. Quandre Diggs probably is not going to be a Seahawk ever again. Tyler Lockett, he may have played his last down in Seattle. But these are two guys that care about this organization. Two guys that care about the future of this team. And for them to step up and say something, the fact they rallied around him, I think is a big deal. I think this sends a message about the culture in Seattle and standing up for Ernest Jones. If Lockett and Diggs never play for Seattle again, and Ernest Jones ends up coming back, I think we owe them a thank you for having his back and willing to speak up on his behalf. To me, I think that speaks volumes of his character in their character, that they're willing to defend him and back him up. So, will the Seahawks end up re-signing Ernest Jones? It's our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know. S for sign, P for pass. Weigh in the comments section and tell me what you think. There is this dumb belief that because Ernest Jones was traded twice in one season, that he's a bad guy for some reason. It's a ridiculous logic. I don't understand it. And you have these losers on the internet like this Yahoo, HD Wags, tweeting, Ernest had to have a problem in the locker room somewhere. No way he gets traded again in season if he's a guy you pay. And then Ernest Jones' own agent responds to this loser saying, so you've spoken to his teammates and coaches to come to this conclusion? Ernest has not only excelled everywhere he's been on the field, but is loved by his teammates and coaches. Public support from the Seahawks and those around Ernest Jones is very clear. They want him back. And these locker room cancer allegations that are making their way on the internet are not coming from legitimate sources here. It's all a bunch of BS at this point in time. Until somebody that has some credence and has some evidence to back it up, I don't want to hear it, and I'm not buying it. And the Hawks have no reason to buy it at this point in time, unless they know something we don't. But everything that we've heard, he's been backed up time and time again that he's a good guy and he's a good teammate. In fact, his former teammate in Tennessee, Bobby Brown, even stood up on his behalf. Man, people know the real bro, he said, talking about Ernest Jones. I don't see, personally speaking, that if the Hawks don't re-sign Ernest Jones, it has anything to do with his character, all right? This is a business decision. If Ernest Jones is not going to come back to Seattle, then they're going to get outbid by somebody. It's not going to be that they think he's some locker room cancer of sorts when they gave him the green dot to lead the defense, for crying out loud, right? Mike Macdonald and company have done nothing but spoke glowingly of Ernest Jones. This is not anything personal with Ernest Jones. They believe in Ernest Jones. They want him back on this football team. And I'm just not buying that this is going to be something that stands in the way of him coming back. It's just all this BS out there that these losers are saying about Ernest Jones. Are you a fan of Ernest Jones? I'm a fan of Ernest Jones. I have no reason not to like the guy. What do you guys think? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know if you're a fan of Ernest Jones or not. Weigh in the comment section below. We got a great deal we're offering right now, folks. Seahawks hats are on sale now for up to 50% off, and we have plenty to choose from the ball cap style to the flat bill. These are a few of our hat options, and we have plenty more for you to go see for yourself at chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Not only can you check out these hats, we have other things to choose from of all sorts of Seahawks gear. Go check it out right now. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Back to Ernest Jones. I think that Ernest Jones, not only is it not an issue, this whole locker room cancer BS, he's a priority for this Seahawks team when it comes to the offseason agenda of things they need to do, of players they need to re-sign and bring back, and objectives that John Schneider needs to accomplish. Ernest Jones is one of the top priorities. He must be brought back to this Hawks team. I don't think they have a choice. You saw what he did in the second half of the season, what he did to elevate this defense and take them to another level, how well he played and how much he made his teammates better. I don't know how you don't go forward without him. I think he's a cornerstone piece of this defense for many years to come. And the comparison that I made was that he is this year's version of Leonard Williams. You made that trade, and when you made the trade at the trade deadline, you made a commitment that he's going to be a part of your long-term path. Ernest Jones, let's go through his resume. A former third-round pick out of South Carolina by the Rams, traded to the Titans and then to Seattle in 2024. He won a Super Bowl ring with the LA Rams. I like Ernest Jones. And you look at his statistics, this dude's just getting started, folks. I mean, it's just now starting to enter his prime years. A season where, playing for two different teams, he still had 138 tackles, 4 TFLs, half a sack, 4 pass breakups, an interception, 3 QB hits. He was fantastic. And he thrived in this Mike Macdonald defense. And we look at Ernest Jones. He's a good pass rusher. He's good when it comes to defending the run. And his coverage stats. Sure, there's some work to do, but you can build upon those numbers there. Quarterback rating you'd like to see go down. Yards I can live with, 413 allowed. I feel very optimistic. And even the contract projection, people wonder, can you afford to pay Ernest Jones? We've talked about this on this show previously. I'll continue to reiterate. There are plenty of ways for Seattle to create cap space, even though they don't have a ton of cap space right now, where you can afford to pay him his projected 3-year, $36 million deal. I don't think there's any excuse. There's no reason not to get something done. In fact, John Schneider's indicated that they could potentially get something done before free agency actually begins, and that would be great. Speaking of free agency, who's a player you want to see the Seahawks sign? Give me a name in the comments section, weigh in, and let us know. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.